Hey, I'm Molly Sims.
And I'm Emese Gormley. We're two girls obsessed with one thing, beauty.
And by that, we mean everything that makes you look
And feel
beautiful.
We're calling on our favorite health experts, industry insiders, and friends to answer all your beauty questions.
With a drink in hand.
Definitely with a drink in hand.
You're listening to Lipstick on the Rim with Molly Sims. Well, we have officially made it through the first couple of weeks of school. I mean, can I just say I'm tired? I was tired before we even started, but I'm even more tired now.
I think I'm in a permanent state of fatigue.
Exactly. I am so I'm just going to tell you guys, I can sleep anywhere. I can sleep on a plane. I can sleep on the floor. I can sleep with 16 kids around me. I can sleep anywhere. But now the problem is I can't stay asleep. And I feel like that tired and that exhaustion. And I think a lot of moms, we have gotten this question asked, can you have someone on the podcast, a specialist, an expert, a doctor, to talk about sleep?
I mean, how often do I talk about sleep?
She talks about sleep so much.
Every day.
Every
probably.
day.
So there's no one more excited to sit across from our next guest than me.
Dr. Shelby Harris is a clinical psychologist, a sleep specialist who's truly the woman to know when it comes to getting a good night's rest. We're going to be diving into the Women's Guide to Overcoming Insomnia. Like, I have the book right here, okay?
It's the story of my life.
Dr. Harris, welcome to Lipstick on the Rim. You know, I used to tell my kids, and I still tell my kids, when you sleep, you grow.
Yes.
And I know I've stopped growing, but my sleep is fucked. Like everybody knows I went through the fires. I don't think I slept for like 3 months. But even when I'm not stressed, I wake up. I wake up at like 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yep.
Just like that.
It's super common.
It happens, I think, to a lot of women. So, I mean, we are pumped to ask you all of these questions.
I started doing this before it became popular to even talk about sleep. So I was a sleepwalker as a kid. So I
was a sleepwalker.
And it's hereditary a lot of times too. My kids would do it when they were younger. I tried leaving my parents' house and I had no idea why I was doing it. The alarm got set off and it was fascinating.
How old were you?
Between 6 and 11. I always had to have the bottom bunk at sleepaway camp. So I just was interested in it then. And then when right before I went to grad school, I worked in research, medical research, and we were looking at alcoholism and addictions. And I was in a rehab, and we found that when we were treating sleep problems in people who were in early recovery for alcohol problems, when they were sleeping better, they weren't relapsing as much because people go back to alcohol because they're not sleeping. So it's like 25 years ago. Why are we talking about it there, but we're not talking about sleep for everyone else?
Well, it's a big topic right now. Yeah. I think especially because the whole menopause conversation has opened and people are being more honest. Why do women, especially in their 30s, 40s, and 50s, seem to struggle more with sleep now than ever?
So it's a perfect storm of 3 different areas. So the first being there's the hormonal stuff. So we see the big shift in progesterone and estrogen. There's a lot of drops that happen at random times, which is why our cycle might change at various times. So that's the first thing. And that can lead to hot flashes, night sweats.
Check.
Busy brain in the middle of the night.
Check.
Then we also see with women, there's higher rates of anxiety and depression. So that doesn't help as well. And then the third area that doesn't get talked about enough, in my opinion, are the social stressors that happen. So women a lot of times are having kids later in life. So a lot of us, myself included, are in the sandwich generation. So we're having kids at home that we're taking care of aging parents. And then a lot of us are now working more than ever outside of the home. So when we get home from work, it doesn't just stop. We have the family stuff to think about, all the other things. So it's that perfect storm of the social stress, the psychological stress, and then the biology.
It makes sense.
It makes sense. I mean, for me, I was very similar to Molly in that I could sleep anywhere. I would never have an issue falling asleep.
Like people would be jealous of us.
Yeah. And now it's really interesting because if I'm in a new environment, a new bed, I can't fall asleep. And it's, for me, I became reliant on prescribed medication for a little bit because I was having such a hard time. I was sleeping in hospitals for a little bit. And it was really tough. And I think that I don't know if that's ultimately like having had a dependency on it during bad times.
Yeah.
Made me sleep less. I have no idea.
It's hard to say. I mean, I think when you start having trouble with sleep to begin with, the common sense in us starts to come out more of like, we need to protect it more. We need to do whatever we can to make sure that it's that perfect sleep environment or sleep aids. And then it just starts to be a little too precious.
I start to get a little bit anxious.
Yes.
I mean, probably too much information, but like if I don't because I've always been such a sleeper, I could sleep, if you told me to go to bed at midnight, I could sleep all the way through. If you told me to go to bed at 6 a.m., I could sleep.
Yeah.
But I can't stay asleep. And I start actually stressing and having such angst at 3 o'clock in the morning that it's, I've done magnesium, I've done sleep tart cherry for muscle recovery. I've done melatonin, I've done
I do magnesium now, and that's helped me a lot.
She's now on the glycinate.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. That's helping.
What is the difference between insomnia
Yeah.
and just having a few bad nights of sleep?
I love this question because perfection is often what's talked about and everyone wants to optimize everything. It's normal to have a bad night here and there. I don't sleep perfect every single night. So 3 nights a week of poor sleep, 30 or more minutes or so. It doesn't have to be exactly 30 minutes. 3 nights a week for at least a month where it's short-term insomnia and at least 3 months to be chronic insomnia. So it suggests that you can have a bad night here and there. That's totally normal, or a bad week of poor sleep. So 3 nights a week where you're either trouble falling asleep, staying asleep, or you wake up earlier than you want.
How much sleep? Okay, I'm 52 years old. Let's start with our 50s, 40s, 30s, and then we want to ask you a little bit about the kids.
We always hear 8 to 10 hours, which seems unrealistic.
The 10 hours is a high end. It's for most people, about 70% of the population, it's about 7 to 9 hours. That's where the 8 comes from. It's literally just in the middle. It's the easiest to report. So if someone tells you it has to be exactly 8, they're wrong. Some people, though, need a little less than 6 to feel well-rested and refreshed. And when they sleep more than that, they have more awakenings or trouble falling asleep.
Yeah, why is that?
Why do they need a little less?
So if they get more, they're actually more tired.
Yeah, I mean, there's some people when you're doing that, you're actually diluting your sleep more. So they might have more awakenings in the middle of the night. It's like they're just not sleeping as consolidated. Or you fall asleep, you stay asleep throughout the night with a few quick awakenings. You wake up in the morning, but you're waking up longer than you would normally naturally wake up. So you're waking up in a deeper sleep.
Now, what about, I always used to hear this, maybe it's an old wives' tale, but the sleep before midnight is your most important sleep. Is that true?
No, not at all. Drives me mad.
But it is. I used to hear that all the time. It was like something you would hear it.
A lot of what I do on Instagram is debunking these myths. Everyone has different circadian patterns. Some people are more early birds. Some people are more night owls. Some people are more in between.
And that is true, right?
Yeah.
Like my husband can power through his reading, his scripts, his notes at night. I am a morning person.
Yep.
It's just the way my brain works.
It's a total myth because if I told someone who's a night owl, start going to bed at 10 p.m. every night so you get your best sleep, they're going to start having insomnia. So it just makes it harder for them. So if you need to shift it, fine, but there's no ideal
your
timing.
REM sleep is at this time.
No, it's whatever you are consistent with that works in your life. So if you're consistent with the same, let's say, 1 to 9 sleep schedule, then you're fine. Just do that.
Do you believe in those Oura rings or any of those devices that track your sleep?
They're fine for people who don't make sleep a priority. So if you're someone who's burning the candle at both ends, you're drinking a lot of alcohol, they're good to let you know, okay, maybe you should make some changes. But most people don't need a ring like that or a watch to tell them that they're having poor sleep. And they're great for the timing of sleep, the amount of sleep you're getting, but the sleep staging, so the deep sleep, light sleep, REM, is not always the most accurate.
Everywhere you look right now, people are talking about weight loss medications. But how do you know if weight loss medications are right for you? That's where Hers comes in. Hers is transforming women's healthcare by making access to weight loss treatment plans simple, realistic, and affordable. Here's how it works. They'll connect you with a licensed medical provider who will evaluate your health and goals And if prescribed, design a plan tailored for you. This isn't about fad diets, quick fixes. Hers builds realistic programs with real doctors, real support, and real results. Think of it this way. Weight loss by Hers is realistic, not restrictive. Whether you want to lose weight, grow thicker, fuller hair, or find relief for anxiety, Hers has you covered. Visit forhers.com/lipstick to get personalized, affordable plan that gets you. That's forhers.com/lipstick. forhers.com/lipstick. Weight loss by Hers is not available everywhere. Compounded products are not approved or reviewed for safety, effectiveness, or quality by the FDA. Prescription required. See website for full details, important safety information, and restrictions. Actual price depends on product and plan purchase.
So let's talk about debunking some of those myths.
Yeah.
What's 3 or 4 myths that you're like, that is just not true?
So that one of the going to sleep by midnight is a huge one. You need less sleep as you get older is another really big myth. No, you don't. You get a little less maybe, but within the span of 24 hours, you might nap a little bit more, but it's about the same amount of time. The women, this is a big one recently, women need more sleep than men. No. And I've seen some people say like women need like an hour to 2 hours more than men. No, women might get 10 minutes more than men in general, and they sleep deeper. But the issue is that women have more rates of insomnia. A lot of the women that I work with, they'll say they weren't sleeping well when they had little kids. And then once the kids start sleeping better, their sleep just continued to be, because they've kind of trained themselves to keep an ear open or just be anxious about things.
I am that way.
Yeah, it's so common. And I think another big myth is that you just kind of, as you get older, poor sleep is just kind of what happens, especially in perimenopause and menopause. And that couldn't be further from the truth.
What are your thoughts on sleep for kids? Like we have our children's ages range from 6 to 13.
Yep.
And we just said sleep is when you grow, right? That's sort of one of those things that we talk about. I am curious as to what your thoughts are on what's a healthy amount of sleep for, call it a 10, 11, 12, 13-year-old, because they are going to bed later.
Yeah.
But they still they sleep in a little bit more. But you do want them to, my husband and I sometimes argue about that. Like, are they getting enough sleep? Should they be sleeping? I'll throw it at, you want to be tall, you got to sleep, know?
I'll throw that in too.
Those are all the things that we say.
Right.
And I'm just curious what, because you really are hyper-focused on the hours of sleep for a kid when they're really little.
Yes.
But we start to not really understand what that right number is for slightly older kids.
And there is still a range with the slightly older. I have a 9-year-old and a 15-year-old, so I'm totally in that pocket as well. And I think anywhere from 9 hours, believe it or not, most teenagers need about 9.5 hours of sleep at night. So fewer getting that because the schools start
That's
so
the hardest
early.
thing, totally.
It's so like in my town in New York, we were able to change the school start times a little later. And I know that in California,
they're trying.
It should be 8:30 minimum.
So what's your school start time?
8:30.
For high school as well?
Middle and high school is 8:30. The elementary school is 7:50, but all the parents in the town of the younger kids, I'm like, you'll thank us later. It'll be better. But that's a big part of the problem is that normally when they get to be preteens, they naturally shift later. So you can try to get them 9 to 10, even maybe a little more hours of sleep, but they can't force themselves to go to bed so early the older they get. It's just biologically not possible. But yeah, if you can try and protect it as often as possible, and if they need to sleep in on a Saturday and a little bit on a Sunday, that's okay. It's just
like this summer,
they need it.
Gray went to bed a little bit later than normal. He went to bed around 10, but he clocked till 10 the next day. He only did it for like 3 or 4 days, but his body just, he needed it.
Yeah.
He was out.
And an in I also have with some of this age range, because they're like, there's a lot of that too. Like, I'm old enough, I should know my sleep schedule.
Totally.
Is telling the growing, right? But also kind of tailoring it to what their interests are. So if you have a kid who's really interested in sports, right? You'll have less risk of injury. You're actually going to be able to do more at whatever it is you're doing. And a musician, you'll learn the skills better. Try to tailor how sleep will help them more, and you might get more buy-in.
You're not going to be tall, Brooks.
Back to us. Back to us. We still have a lot of questions.
Yeah.
What are some evidence-based non-medication treatments you use with your patients?
So cognitive behavior therapy for insomnia is the first line treatment. That's what my book's all about. So what it is it's a very short-term therapy. So there you go. I see people between 2 to 8 times. So what part of it is
it's
that
not
sleep,
hypnosis, is it?
No, not
okay.
even remotely.
Okay.
So what it is there's that sleep hygiene piece that you were talking about. Like, I try the tart cherry juice. It's a little bit of sleep hygiene, limiting screens, limiting alcohol, all that. But believe it or not, most people with insomnia have tried all that stuff and they still don't sleep well. That's like just the basics. If you're drinking a 2-liter bottle of Diet Coke at night, you're not going to sleep well.
Yeah.
So that's the basic. But then we look at the amount of time someone's in bed. So I might change someone's sleep-wake timing. That's a big one. So awakenings in the middle of the night, if someone's only getting, let's say, 6.5 hours of sleep at night, but they're in bed 8 hours, I might actually have them go to bed later and get up at the same time every day, which sounds bonkers, I know, but it deepens someone's sleep over time. And we want to work on quality first, not quantity.
Okay, quick question.
Yeah.
Do you use an alarm?
Yes. So you want to get up at the same time every morning.
You do?
Yes, 7 days a week, you're going to set an alarm clock. I still have the same alarm clock from high school next to my bed.
For me, I don't need an alarm. I will, like, if I know I have like a flight or something.
Yeah.
My body naturally wakes up at the same time almost every single day.
That's great. But if we start having you go to bed later to try and combat some of those long awakenings, that 3 a.m. awakening in the middle of the night, then you might start risking sleeping in a little bit. We want to cut it off. So that's part of that treatment, is to really have someone just make sure it's an extra safety guardrail in a way.
So if you're in perimenopause, what happens to your sleep once you go through menopause? Do you go back to sleeping, or does it
Some
still
people
affect it?
do, some people don't. They might still have a lot of that awakening in the middle of the night. And that's when we might target, what are they doing in the middle of the night? Are they on their phone? Are they scrolling? And then we might actually add in some worry-based stuff, because that's what I see a lot in perimenopause. That might continue into menopause, is some of the worries in the middle of the night of, I have to sleep. If I don't sleep, XYZ is going to happen tomorrow. So we might start targeting a bit of their busy brain a bit in the middle of the night. But very focused, simple treatment. Not so simple to make someone stay up a lot later and spend less time in bed, but the things that we do in the middle of the night and the way they think about sleep and that anxiety, it's very effective for many
Okay, so
people.
let's talk about it. You're up at 3 o'clock in the morning.
What do you do?
What do you do?
Yeah. So the first thing is, don't grab your phone. That's what.
Yeah, I don't grab my phone.
That's why an alarm clock is better than a phone for an alarm. Yeah, I know, it's not fun.
I'll tap my phone to see what time it is, but I don't pick it up.
So that's the next piece. Don't look at the clock in the middle of the night, because everyone wakes up 4 to 6-ish times a night when you finish a full sleep cycle. So what you do is, after about an hour and a half-ish, you have an awakening. And so when you start looking at the clock, you might just be naturally looking at the clock when you have one of those natural awakenings. And now you start saying, why do I always wake up at the exact same time every night? So you're training yourself to do that. And then you get more angry when you look at the clock. At least some people do. Then the next thing is, if you're up for a long time and you just can't sleep, get out of bed. Go sit somewhere else. So I'll have someone lying in bed trying to force yourself to get sleepy. Effort is the enemy of sleep. Sleep, when you guys were able to sleep anywhere, you probably didn't think about it, right? You didn't put effort into it.
It feels counterintuitive.
I didn't put any effort into it.
Yeah.
But
what feels
getting up
counterintuitive?
it feels counterintuitive. Because to me, if I wake up in the middle of the night and I can't fall back asleep, getting up and walking to another part of my house would make me feel like I'm waking up.
Yeah, I totally get that. If you're up for a little while, we usually say 20, 30-ish minutes, stay in bed. That's fine. But once your brain starts to get frustrated or you start thinking about everything, now you're associating the bed with wakefulness. And the bed is really not for wakefulness. So I'd rather you get up and just do something as a placeholder. And it's weird. It might wake you up, but it's going to quiet your brain down by just reading or doing something without a screen, ideally. Then get in bed when you're actually sleepy again. And that's the stuff I'll have people do initially, with then limiting time in bed. And it works really well for a lot of people.
How much do screens actually ruin people's sleep?
So it can impact your sleep, but people are making it out to be the enemy altogether. What's the bigger enemy, in my opinion? The screen isn't great, but it's, what are you doing on it, right? Are you just all the
Scrolling,
apps they're addictive, and then
They're addictive.
are you just autoplay everything? That's the problem.
Are naps good or bad for sleep?
They're good if you don't have routine sleep problems at night. 20-minute nap early in the day is fine, but if you have sleep problems at night, then you might want to take it out, because it's going to steal it from the night.
What's one of the worst things you can do before bed? Drink alcohol, I know, but or Diet Coke.
Yeah, alcohol is not great for sleep. Right. I'm not going to lie. I think just doing work right before bed is probably not good.
What supplements or at-home treatments do you recommend? I mentioned I take magnesium.
Yeah. So magnesium glycinate is fine. If you're we tend to use magnesium for people who just have trouble relaxing before bed. Melatonin's the other really big one that we talk about all the time. Melatonin for the middle of the night stuff is not the most effective.
I think that's so interesting because we always hear take melatonin.
I know. It's really what it is it's sleep timer. So if you're someone who sleeps 8 hours or however many hours and you're fine, but you want to start shifting it to a different direction. Jet lag, shift work, all that stuff. Right. That's when we actually use it. And we use it. If you go to the market, you'll easily see 10 milligrams of melatonin everywhere. That's way too much. There's no data on it. I use 0.5 milligram to 1 milligram with patients max. And it's hard to find that
melatonin.
Sometimes. But it's when I'm shifting
That's exactly what Jordan Geller, I just had my yearly with Jordan Geller. He's my endocrinologist, and that's exactly what he said.
1 milligram.
1 to like a little bit amount.
A tiny amount.
Not 10.
And we use it when we're using it to shift someone's sleep schedule sometimes. We might give it to them 3, 4, 5 hours before they naturally will fall asleep because it's just shifting their sleep-wake schedule.
You go to Europe.
Yep.
You're with your family. When do you start taking the melatonin? Do you believe in something for the kids? What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, I don't love giving melatonin necessarily to kids, but if you run it by their pediatrician and the timing, depending on how big of a time difference there is, say the West Coast versus the East Coast, then you might consider it. But there's a few apps out there. I don't get paid by them, but Time Shifter is one really great app. And it was developed by legit sleep scientists. If you put in the 2 flights that you're taking, it will tell you when to take the melatonin. A day,
for kids too?
Ideally, like for older kids, possibly talk about it with the pediatrician, but yeah, possibly. But also the big thing that people never talk about is light exposure. So when you should be wearing sunglasses, when you could get brighter light, because you don't necessarily want to land and just get the most bright light. That worsens things.
A couple of my friends and a few people I work with deal with massive migraines. And I know with my one friend, light just triggers.
Yep. So you have to be thoughtful about when you're going to use light and when you're going to use darkness, because that's actually the most important thing to set your circadian rhythm. So that app will tell you when you should be getting light, when you should be getting dark, advancing your sleep schedule. For kids, that's really helpful to advance them a little bit before they go. So that will give you like a whole program as in-depth as you want to get.
And also when you're going to Europe, you got to keep them up. You got to keep them busy. You got to, and then they're so tired at one point. That's what I've kind of learned for me as well. And it's really helped me. And also a really dark room.
Yep.
What are your thoughts on a sound machine?
They're great. I
love to sleep with a sound machine.
I love it. You just have to, the thing I caution to everybody about sound machines, weighted blankets, all that sort of stuff.
That was my next question.
Is like, all for it if you find that you want it to help, if you find it helpful, but just be prepared that you're going to then train yourself to need to carry the weighted blanket or the sound machine.
The sound machine for me, it's more, I like to drown out outside noise.
Yes.
So like if my neighbors are having a party or it just, to me, if my husband's watching TV still too loudly and I'm like, ugh, I just want to go to sleep. I love the sound machine for just drowning out
also,
that
he
sound.
Snores.
Yeah.
So that was one of my things that I screen grabbed on your Instagram is the 5 most common questions that people ask. Yeah. And the number one at the top is, how do I get my significant other to stop snoring? It's waking me up.
Yeah. I mean, if it's bad enough, I would always say get a sleep study.
I mean, I will wear earplugs. Yeah. I'll like blast the sound machine next to my ear.
Yeah.
But that's the only way.
Yeah. But like even this is like the thing I get asked daily is like that person should probably still have like an evaluation for a sleep study. And if
you're snoring that much.
Yeah. If you're snoring consistently.
What is that? What does that mean?
So many cases, not all the time, but many cases, snoring is a sign of sleep apnea. So it's basically like pauses in your airway. It's collapsing. So, and that happens 5 to 15 times an hour just to be mild. And so, it happens. It's very, very common in women too, in perimenopause and menopause. So some of the awakenings at night, if you feel like your sleep's not restorative, if you take a sleep aid and you feel like a truck hit you the next day, you might have sleep apnea and not even realize it. And it gets missed in women all the time.
How do you feel about sleeping pills?
I don't love them off
Do you
the
remember
bat.
remember like 20 years ago, I remember I took ambient.
Yeah.
And I made a full chocolate chip cookies. I made a full dinner, like a full thing in the middle of the night. Never remembered it.
Sleepwalking. Yeah. So common. We like CBT, that treatment that I was talking about, as the first line treatment because it has the fewest side effects. You're sleepy and you have to like do it for a little while to work. Sleep aids are okay after you've tried other things. Once someone starts on a sleep aid, it's rare that 30 years from now, they just randomly can stop it. So we try not to go that route at the beginning.
So we touched on this, but truly perimenopause, menopause. Sleep issues are hormonally affected, right? Like if that's sort of one of those things that you hear about. So if I were to go to my OB and say, hey, I need HRT.
Yep.
Does that help your sleep, do you think?
It does for some women, but the way that it gets talked about a lot now online is it's like the cure for everything, and it doesn't treat everyone. So that's why there are other treatments.
I notice when this is definitely TMI, but I know my body when I'm ovulating.
Yeah.
When I'm ovulating is when I have the most broken sleep.
Yep, that's so common.
And I finally put 2 and 2 together because I was like, why am I sleeping perfectly? Like, I'm not waking up. I take my magnesium. I go to bed. I sleep like a baby. I wake up feeling refreshed. And then the week that I'm ovulating, I'm like, what has happened?
Yep. That is a super common phenomenon. If it's really very tied to that time, that's a discussion to have with your gynecologist about any particular, like some people find that being on some sort of hormonal intervention can be useful. I mean, we then really try to dig deeper into figuring it out. And some women actually get sleepier too at that time. So if anybody is like, I can't keep my eyes open during that time, they should get that evaluated too.
It's
one
during the
way or the
day.
other.
It's during the day. I'm like, I'm a little groggier. And then in the middle of the night, I'm like, boom.
Yep.
Okay.
What'd you take on blue light glasses? And no.
I mean, there are some people who like them, but I'm like, is that going to then give you like free range to like be on your phone all night?
What's the relationship between sleep and Alzheimer's or dementia?
So we have newer research looking at certain stages of sleep, deeper sleep. It's like when you sleep at night, your brain's like a dishwasher, and you're washing out plaques that are forming during the day, these protein plaques. So when you're sleeping enough at night, you're actually cleaning out your brain so these things don't build up. So that's why we want to work on it. But I do stress to people, it's not like if you're not sleeping, you're not going to definitely get any sort of dementia, because I see more people coming to my practice now because they're freaked out that if they're not sleeping, they're going to get this down the road, and then they sleep less even more.
Yeah.
Is it true that REM sleep is when the brain cleans itself?
So it happens a little bit during then. REM sleep is very active sleep. That's when you dream. That's when the most emotion formation happens, and a little bit of memory too as well there too.
When I started taking the magnesium, I started drinking something called Calm and Restore by Chroma.
It's by Chroma. It's so good.
It's so good. And it's I either drink that magnesium or I take a magnesium glycinate. But I will say, the first few nights that I took the Chroma, I had the most insane dreams.
Yeah.
It was wild. Why is that?
Some of these supplements, even medications, can cause, because they're changing around a little bit of the sleep staging that you're getting. And also, if you hadn't had deeper sleep for a while, you are now getting that. Your brain was like craving REM sleep, so it's giving you more of that, and you're having more vivid dreams. We see that a lot with melatonin. People have vivid dreams.
I
and
have
nightmares.
vivid dreams on melatonin.
Yeah, so that's when we might actually have them stop it, because it doesn't usually just go away.
Do you have the best sleep?
Me?
Yeah.
Some nights, yes, but I have a 9-year-old and a 15-year-old and perimenopause, and once in a while it's not great, but then I know the things to do to get back on track.
I know. I think that's what it is. Like I was feeling really a little bit desperate at the beginning of the year, January, February, March, April. I was really struggling, and I was having to drive a lot, and I was struggling. I think the more I stressed about it, the less sleep I got. The less sleep I got, the more anxious I got. The more anxious I got, I almost got depressed about it.
Yeah, it's that effort, right? The more you worry about the sleep in a way of trying to get sleep, you're putting effort into it, and that's what actually makes it. I tell people, try to let go of the attachment, the emotional attachment to it, and once you start letting go of that, that's when sleep starts happening.
I do think a dark room, good pajamas.
Yeah, good pajamas are key.
Good pajamas.
I like to sleep in. Oh, this is a question.
Oh yeah,
cold versus hot.
Cold, for sure.
For sure.
I love a cold room.
But then someone who was talking, I think Mike was saying like, oh, but you wake up more stiff.
Your joints are more stiff.
I mean,
he's not a doctor.
He likes to finance. He likes to think. I
don't know, but you might hear sometimes 67 degrees. It's really just somewhere in the 60s because it's whatever's comfortable. I'm always frozen, despite wearing a vest right now. I'm always frozen. I go to bed at night and it's cold. I wear socks, believe it or not, and socks can actually be really helpful for some people when it comes to sleeping.
Oh, that's interesting.
You're cooling your body off, your internal body temperature. You're cooling yourself off for your feet, and it actually helps throughout the night. So you want everything nice and cold. And that way I can sleep so that my feet aren't freezing.
So magnesium, this is there's two questions I have for you. One is I obviously take the magnesium. I've talked about it, but I had a friend of mine who somehow got me to buy this thing on Amazon, and it's the magnesium spray for your soles of your feet. Do you believe in that? And it's specifically for sleep.
I don't know about that for sleep, but magnesium's great anyhow you ever get it in your body.
Yeah, I mean, there's not really any research on that.
Yeah.
I will say I use magnesium lotion for my legs because I have restless leg syndrome and leg movements at night because I'm a runner, and that's really common in women. So it does help with leg cramps at night.
Other things for leg cramps. I have leg cramps.
So leg cramps and restless leg are very common, but it's like you want to make sure magnesium's helpful, but you also want to make sure you're hydrated, you're not using too much caffeine. And then if that's not enough, then we look at iron levels too for some people who have like restless leg.
Oh, my iron levels are low.
That can sometimes do it too, especially if it's like a restless feeling before bed.
What about gummies? Because there are a lot of CBD
million
gummies that are for sleep. I actually am guilty of taking one.
Yeah.
I really like it.
Okay.
And
what's it called? The nano?
It's the nano jellies by the Green Compass.
The Green Compass.
So it's just CBD.
It's daily CBD support. THC never above 0.3%.
Tiny bit of THC in it.
Tiny.
I mean, I think CBD in and of itself it's not really a sleep aid. I mean, none of these things are. But it helps, kind of like magnesium, helps to chill you out and relax you. Right. So if you're someone who tends to be a little high stress, then sure. Mm-hmm. Many people come into my office have tried CBD and it doesn't do anything for them. The THC component can help some people sleep more, but they end up a lot of times feeling
hungover.
Exactly. Yeah. And like, are you going to start having to take, like, if they're taking higher levels of THC, takes a few hours for some people for it to work. Like, are you going to start having to take something 3 hours before? And there's no standardization from one place to another with what's in it. So we try to stay away from that. More and more research is coming out showing like, we don't love the THC.
What about everything with like the mushrooms, like moon juice has the aptogens, like anything like that?
There's no real research significant. Okay. I mean, if it helps you, great, but it's not really any sort of evidence-based.
Okay, we have to do a little rapid fire.
Oh, God.
Are you a night owl or early bird?
Early bird, for sure.
Hold on, sorry. What's on your bedside table?
3 different types of lip masks for just dried lips. And then my alarm clock from high school that I still use.
Is it a loud alarm? Like, rah, rah, rah?
That or, yeah, but it's more on, I have it on like the radio station, which is probably just fuzz when it comes in usually.
I have one from Hatch. Have you heard of this?
Oh, I know them well. We have them in my house.
Yeah, I think the Hatch one is, because it wakes you up. And the first time it woke me up, I was like, God, the birds are so pretty.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, it's not real birds.
Yeah. No, it's a good one.
I love it.
My 9-year-old
I put it on our
daughter.
gift guide. I like it.
It's a great one.
Yeah, my 9-year-old daughter wakes up with that and she has the pan flute playing in the background. I was like, this was not what it was like when I was 9.
No.
What's your personal wind down routine?
I started this during the pandemic. I stretch. So I'll do a lot of stretching. And then I wash my face first, stretch. Then I get in bed and I read for 10, 20 minutes. And then I just go to sleep.
Reading helps me. Makes me tired.
Yep.
Do you keep your phone on your nightstand?
I keep it on the nightstand, but I never, ever look at it. So it's not really an issue for me.
Biggest vice?
Diet Coke.
I told Molly my term for Diet Coke, my friend's term. It's a fridge cig.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry, that is so good, though. I had to share it. Ken is laughing. Rose is laughing. It's true. Are you a planner or do you go with the flow?
Planner, 100%.
Unpopular opinion.
The blue light, everything, blocking everything.
Best piece of advice you received?
That the days are slow, but the years are fast.
Yeah.
It's so true.
It's so true when I look at my kids.
Oh,
It's like crazy.
Kills me. Early morning workout or evening exercise?
Generally early morning workout.
What's your most used app on your phone?
Instagram.
Coffee or tea? Text or FaceTime or call?
Text.
Favorite cocktail?
Aperol spritz right now.
Oh, we love an
I
Aperol
love me
spritz.
an
We made
Aperol.
a
Should
few
go
this
for one right
summer.
now.
Yeah.
So good. Especially when it's 100 degrees outside at
I
times.
know. What do you wish you had more time for?
My kids. I spend a good amount of time with them, but I wish I had more time.
You're amazing.
You're so, and this is going to be so helpful.
This is so helpful. I can't even tell you because a lot of what we see on the internet, it just gets boggled down. It gets, is it true? Is it not true? And you end up just trying to do anything and everything that you possibly can.
Right.
But I think also what works for one person doesn't
Thank you.
necessarily work for another person. I think that's where we have to really be careful and walk the line and be mindful because, again, taking a sleeping pill every single day, I mean, that can get tricky in 5 years.
Yeah.
That can get tricky in 2 years.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I always think about it with people who are in like perimenopause who are like, oh, I'll start something now. I'm like, that's okay. But what about in 10 years, 15 years when we have a bigger issue with memory and falls? Like that's where you have to start thinking about the longer term.
We always ask every guest before they go, if you could give advice to your 10-year-old self, what would it be?
Slow down. Yeah. I was always rushing to get to the next stop. Slow down.
You're amazing.
You're so
okay,
great.
everyone make sure to follow Dr. Shelby Harris on Instagram. It's called @SleepDocShelby. SleepDoc, D-O-C, Shelby. And pick up a copy of her book, The Women's Guide to Overcoming Insomnia. It's all there. Very simple. It's not thick. You can get through it. You're the best.
Thank you.
And we are going to sleep better.
begets sleep.
Sleep.
Thank you. We say
Beget
it for
sleep.
kids.
But we forget about it for adults.
Exactly.
I agree. Don't forget to rate us, review us, follow us on Instagram, TikTok @Lipstick on the Rim. That's a wrap. You're the best.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you
I
for
can't wait to go
having
to
me.
sleep
This
now.
was
I know. I'm kind of sleepy.
Thanks for listening to Lipstick on the Rim with Molly Sims and my ride or die, Emese Gormley. We are so excited to bring you guys along on this journey with us. You can find us on Instagram and TikTok @Lipstick on the Rim and @Molly B. Sims. Or you can go to my blog where you can dive just a little bit deeper into my favorite products, trends, and more at mollysims.substack.com. And don't forget to check out our video episodes on my YouTube channel, Molly Sims. This podcast is a production with Sony Music. I wanted to give a special thanks to my team, Rosie Cummings, Kenna Ryan, Sophine Kevorkian, and everyone at Sony Music. Don't forget to listen and follow wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss out on the fun.